agenda here, I would like to welcome two new members here. Excited to have them. I know one lady here for some time. Glad that she's here. Brookmeal Mayor Barb LaPrade and Brookmeal Town Manager Craig Hughes. And thank you for coming and representing your town. And we look forward to working with you in the region and doing some good things for this area. I don't think we have anybody want to come in with us. Is that correct? Okay. Let's see here. Town of Bedford appointed a new member, Stacy Haley. I don't think she's going to be here today, though, is she? Greg Patrick, Lynchburg Deputy City Manager, is going to be proxy for Wynton Bender. And thank you for coming tonight, sir. Meeting minutes. Is there any question on the minutes from our past meeting, March 20th, 2025? Motion to approve. Roger, second. Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Okay. All right. Let's see.
We're trying to get a man in here virtually.
Okay.
So we got, voted on the regular meeting minutes for March 20th. We got executive committee meeting minutes for April 10th.
Okay, did you say we had someone to zoom in or not?
We do, but he doesn't need to be.
Okay, okay. Okay, appointments to the LRBA Executive Committee. As March meeting, Planning District Commission deferred action on this topic pending local government membership status in the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance for fiscal year 2026. Those planning district commissioners eligible to serve at the current county administrators and city managers of those localities with current LRBA memberships. LRBA CEO Megan, CVPDC Director Alec Brevner conferred and recommended seats rotate parallel to the Regional Economic Developers Red Team Chairmanship. The request to the commission is to appoint Jeremy Bryant and Frank Rogers to the LRBA Executive Commission. This is carried over from a March meeting. So they talked with Amherst County Administrator Jeremy Bennett, who agreed to serve on the LRBA Executive Committee. Frank Rogers stay on. Okay, congratulations.
Yeah, but it's going to rotate, right, with the red team leadership?
Assuming that's interesting, but it should do something soon.
Let's see, the choir. You got to vote on this. Okay, do I have a motion and a second on this?
Motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. Moving right along, number 5, facilitating career pivots into high demand occupation, grant application. Alec, I'm gonna turn this over to you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item, the next item we have for consideration is an important project that the Central Virginia Workforce Development Board is working on a grant application. And Tracy Lito is the executive director for Virginia Career Work Central Region, and she's going to present and introduce the partners. It's a great project. Thanks for coming, Tracy.
Thank you. Jason, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Actually got Dr. Jason Ferguson because today is CVCC's graduation. He's online. And we have Dr. Sarah Turple here, and we're going to call on them in a few minutes to talk. But first, I just wanted to thank you for having me tonight. I'm here for round 2 because you know I was here last time too. But this time we had an opportunity. The governor's office and Secretary Brian Slater, the Department of Labor Secretary, has made available 15% of our Title I federal funds. They're allowed to to take off the top when it comes from Congress to the states. And they can do with that what they want to as far as anything related to workforce development. So sometimes they make available competitive grants, and they did that in this case. So Tim and I have applied for $100,000 grant. The caveat is, though, that the governor was encouraging us as boards to work with our localities to fix a workforce shortage. And the biggest shortage that we have are LPNs or RNs, but RNs kind of take care of themselves as they graduate from LPN. So we think that LPN is where we need to focus. This certified nursing assistants in our region have the capability to get some funding and to get through that program. But then they get kind of stuck because the LPN program that Centra Nursing and CVCC have, it's not covered under Fast Forward. So when we talked to Dr. Jason Ferguson about any low-hanging fruit that he could see of programs that we really had a shortage and that CVCC was not able to provide tuition or to provide through the various grant programs, he said LPN all the way. Because the LPN program that Centra has through Centra College, the first 5 classes people can take at CVCC, but it's not covered under Fast Forward grant. So they might apply for Pell or whatever they can apply for, but then there's that extra tuition that they need to cover. So we thought, what better way with 500 LPNs in our region, 300 openings, 300 open positions that we have in our region. And yeah, you can go ahead and show some of that on the slide. The third one. So we have 328 active jobs as of today. We actually checked it today for LPNs. That you didn't even know that because I checked it today because we just said over 300 in the grant. But today it's 328. Centra College can graduate about 30 currently because people do have to pay that tuition and many can't afford it. So they would like to have more, and this program might help them get there. And there's just 38 new positions, and we were just talking, we think that's much higher, but this is the information that we got from Shimura Economics in their last report, that it's 38 new LPN positions being created every year on top of those 500 active positions that are out there anyway. So there's a real need to kind of try to close that gap, and we can't close it overnight 100%, but we can get a little closer in this year of this grant period. So basically, we've applied for $100,000. We had a deadline, a very quick deadline before you guys could meet. So we applied with the caveat that we still had to have this meeting to see if we could get the match. There's a requirement in this round that we are not allowed to use our Title I federal funds as match. That they want us to work together in a locality or with a nonprofit to, come together to get that match. So I humbly come forward to you after working with Alec and the chair to kind of see if we could look at some regional funds that would help us in this 1-year grant period to help us move up to 15 CNAs, bump them up to LPNs through those first 5 foundational classes, and they will get a credential. And I don't know if Dr. Ferguson is still on here, but I'd like him to talk a little bit about that. And then we'll hear from Sarah about what the needs are and how this will help real people that she is working with. That's her in the picture with 2 of her the nurses that are training them. Jason, can we get Jason's picture back up there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, why don't we take a minute and let you kind of talk about the program that you do have and what the challenges are and how you want to see that filled and how this might help.
Sure. So first, thank you all for accommodating the needs to have me Zoom in versus being there in person. I'd rather be there, but when Tracy and Tim approached me about how we could work together with this funding opportunity, looking at some of the restrictions, we have G3 funding, if you're not familiar with that, which covers, it's kind of the last source funding for credit and for credential programs. And then we also have, for the credit programs, we have Pell Grants like other colleges. And then we have on the credentialing side, we have what Tracy's referred to as our Fast Forward program. And if you're not familiar, that CVCC is the only community college in Virginia that does not have a nursing program because we've had a long-standing partnership with Central College. And we work with Central College to provide the general education courses for the LPN and the RN program, and they provide the core classes. We recently did, through collaboration and partnership, establish an opportunity for students to co-enroll in the CNA program. So that is through our Fast Forward funding. So now they can attend CVCC, be enrolled at CVCC as they attend through Centra and get that for the probably 99.9% of them at no cost. And CVCC's, what we've done there is we've helped to provide things like cover background checks and drug screens and scrubs and things that could be barriers to the demographic that particularly enters into that program. So this just made sense for the next opportunity that there's a gap. There's a gap there because of the relationship of the accreditation from SAC COC for us and through the accreditors for the Central College and the Board of Nursing, whereas we can't have such a seamless relationship for LPN and RN. So it just made sense again that this opportunity would allow those students in that cohort to progress, because if you look at Central College's model, there's a progression there from CNA looking at LPN, and then those students have the opportunity for the RN program and beyond. So, this to fund the health sciences career studies certificate, they will receive that award, that academic award, while meeting the requirements of that first semester of the LPN program with Centra, and we'll continue there.
Thank you. And Dr. Sarah, would you like to tell them about your program? And
Sure.
you moved here
About it all day.
you moved here a couple years ago.
I've been in the area less than a year.
Less
It'll be
than a year.
next month. I moved from South Florida specifically. I was the dean of a nursing program at a large community college in Broward County, Florida. And I moved here specifically to be the dean at Central College. So it's exciting to me to look around the room and see you all here. So I've been in the area, like I said, since last June. Central College is a private, not-for-profit college. We have between 250 and 270 students at any one time. We have 4 programs. We have the CNA program that is a partnership with CVCC. And then we have the LPN, RN, and RN to BSN. And really, LPN is a hugely successful program for us. We have over 2 years now of 100% first-time pass rate on the licensure exam. It's a little bit unheard of. Very few people can maintain that 100% pass rate for that long. We don't have a ton of students. There's a huge need in the community. It's a challenging program, and it's a certificate program, but they have to have college credit. And having those college classes is what helps to make it a really successful program and a very qualified nurse that comes out of it. As well, when they have those college credits that they get through that first semester, they're more prepared if they want to move on to an RN program. LPNs can make a great living. They don't need to move on if they don't want. They make anywhere from $25 to some long-term care pay upwards of $35 an hour to these LPNs, so they can make a great living when they graduate from the program. It's wonderful for them. 95% of the graduates from Central College stay in the region to work. So when you support those students, you're supporting the workforce directly in the region. And the ones who do leave, they're not like the university students whose parents pay for their education and they come in to go to that university and then take off. That's not what happens with our students. Our students are mostly non-traditional students who are paying for this themselves in any way they can, and then they plan to live and work in this region, in this area. Once you do leave, it's because their spouse got a job at the other end of Virginia, and that's what they want to be. So we're excited about this. We were thrilled to have you guys come and talk to us, and happy to be here and happy to answer any questions.
Currently, she's getting about 30 graduates per year, but there's much more of a need. So in this 1 year period, if we can get 15 additional people through that are currently CNAs making 35,000 or 38,000 a year, and they can get through this LPN, the first 5 classes, and then on to Central College for the final classes using our Title I funds in the second phase, they will be making 58,000 or more per year. So it really does change their lives. And this will be a short period. And you might be asking, well, what happens after that grant period? I feel like this is going to help us get caught up in the LPN shortage. And then from there, we can help several people every year with our Title I funds to get into your program. And honestly, I think this is going to help with when we market this program for the year to get new people into this program. It's going to bring a lot of more awareness to the fact that we have this shortage and we need more people in it. So with that, I want to open it up for questions. I know I had some more things on slides, but you guys got the thing and you got the one pager there. You know what I've talked about that last month or when I met last time, what the shortage numbers are. I mean, if you look at, I looked at the national shortage and they're talking about till 2037. They're going to need over 300,000 LPNs nationwide. So we already know there's a shortage. This is just a way that we can help in our region to get that gap a little closer or a little more closed up for us in that year. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Wise in their area with the growth that we're experiencing, how do you see that impacting, or either one of y'all, how do you see that impacting what you currently have as your healthcare model?
We're worried about filling that need. Then just alone in the system in Lynchburg, which is essentially, Central Health, there's a need for well over 300 nurses. And even through all of the programs in Lynchburg and the area, that's not going to fill that. And we're concerned because you don't know what's going to happen at the federal level with funding. We have to start finding funding from within. And for Central Health, the Central Foundation does support. We get since August of 2024. So in the August and spring terms, the Central Foundation awarded $72,000 worth of scholarships. So there is support from within, but it's really going to take a huge team effort.
And also when we graduate LPNs, they will work at Centra, many of them, but there's also needs at nursing homes. There's needs, at retirement communities and everywhere.
I guess that was gonna be my one question. And when they graduate this program, are they contractually obligated to work for Centra? Or are
No.
they just a free agent?
Not-
can go
no. Go wherever. And they're pretty highly sought after. We have, hiring companies that want to be at the college every week with their table trying to recruit these people. So all of them have at least offers before they can graduate.
Makes sense.
Would it hurt the program if the recipients of the grant had to stay in the region for 2 years or 3 years? If that was a requirement?
I don't know that we can do that, but
So
I can make
so
it.
then they could conceivably get their certification and leave.
I guess they could. No,
It could, I don't see the LPM population doing that.
Okay.
At least that's a very rare event.
that happens
now,
at the RN.
Can they come from anywhere? Yes, they can come from anywhere. They can come from, some of them. One today I didn't ask her where she lives. She drives for well over an hour to get here, she said. So they,
Wow.
yeah, they
So
can.
they come from the rural areas, all
Yes.
outer rural areas even. And you had said that some of them even have transportation problems sometimes. These are, a lot of them low-income CNAs that are trying to get into this LPN program. They have to take out a loan. And some of them just don't want to have to take out that loan. They've got a kid or two at home. They're struggling financially. So this could really help during this year to help us get 15 people through it.
Yeah.
We'll do 2 cohorts.
from the CVCC perspective, is this only being taught at the main campus, these courses, or are they going out to the satellite ones, satellite campuses like Appomattox?
So for the general education courses that are listed here in that program, typically they come to our main campus. We offer some at the offsites depending on need. The problem there is a lot of those classes end up being low enrollment because we just can't get the student population in those areas to attend. All of these classes are also available online if there are transportation issues.
However, the CNA program that Centra College does through CVCC, we have a campus in Bedford, and we have a full class going in Bedford right now, full CNA class. And we have a new campus in Appomattox at the CVCC building, and we actually have a full class starting at the end of June in Appomattox. And if there's a need, we're happy to get that class year round. We got it approved from the Virginia Board of Nursing, and we're running one cohort, but there's people, we're willing to be out there all the time for the CNA program. The LPN and RM programs are only administered at the Bedford campus.
So you're looking for 50,000 to add to 100,000?
No, basically, the way that they worded it is we need to have half of the money. It's we need
It's
to.
100,000.
Yeah, so it's 50,000.
It was presented differently in two different places.
Yeah, the grant and the regional money would be 100,000.
I think the program sounds great, Alec. Just with respect to match funds come from CVPDC's fund balance. How much is available in fund balance now? Like what percentage of fund balance is this going to take?
$646,000 in our fund balance currently. That's about eight months worth of expenses. And our recommendation would be that we maintain at least 6 months expenses, especially with the current funding climate. So that leaves us with about $186,000, which coincidentally is almost exactly what the annual dues are. So we do have the capacity to make match grants like this. We do this maybe once every 2 to 3 years. I think the last time we did something like this was the Safe Streets for All grant back in summer 22.
So financially, you're very comfortable with this?
Yes, sir.
Right.
If I may, I'm sorry. So if we, what I understood about the mechanics of this is if we say no to the 50,000, the grant opportunity's gone because of the timeline, right?
That's correct.
And I'm gonna be devil's advocate a little bit here, just to make sure I feel good about this. I like the program, but I don't hire any LPNs. So aside from Centra's $72,000 in scholarships, where are those nursing homes and retirement communities and other end users that I would think would be incented to offer this local match before the localities did? If you were in here about paramedics, I'd say yes, can we move on? But this is a little different animal, so where are the other partners?
Jails. My daughter works at the regional jail, does very well. She's an LP.
Yeah, they do.
So the regional jails, I don't know, they may have 1 or 2 RNs, but everybody else is the LPNs.
We're here with a request to make up the totality of the local match, right? Have there been conversations with but there is a school of thought that says you should pay something for your education.
Got the doctors, Virginia Family Physicians, it's located throughout Central Virginia. Have they been approached? I mean, the businesses are going to be one of the benefactors of this grant program. So are they contributing to that? Have they been approached to contribute to that?
I'm asking, I guess, for a pilot project and when that's over, I might be next year looking at a Go Virginia grant or something. If this is successful, I won't come back to this board, but I would be looking for other partners like that.
And then just some follow-up on the need, right? Some of the documentation, it looked like it said you needed 38 LPNs a year, and we're talking about churning out 30, so there's a delta of 8. What is, you're suggesting the need is greater than the 38?
I think that's 38 new LPN jobs created in the region.
So this would effectively meet that, with the need.
300 opening, 328 today.
So you have a backlog of 300.
Yeah, we're
plus.
never going to.
And then you have, just based on need, there's a growth of almost 40 a year, right? From your baseline level.
People like Monk and Pratt, others, yeah.
I just want to speak on the other side of the coin, and that's from the public's viewpoint. I think we can all ride up down 29 and some of these back roads between like Alta Vista and Lynchburg, and we see houses going up everywhere. And in Alta Vista, I think, we're looking at 400 or 500 new houses in the next few years being built. And so that's possibly 400 or 500 new families coming to our area. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with it or not. We live close to Gretna Hospital, and it's pretty frequent that hospital goes on diversion, because I'm assuming what diversion means is they can't take care of the people coming in. Is that the correct understanding of that? And they have to be sent to Lynchburg, somewhere else, because
There
there's.
may be just over capacity at that.
Right, right. And so when you think about it, from an economic standpoint from our region, healthcare is just as important as how good are your schools? How good is your job prospects? What is the tax rate? To me, it's takes on that other side of the coin that if we don't do something sooner rather than later, I'm perfectly frankly, I feel like we're in a healthcare desert here. It's not going to get any better. So that's my 2 cents worth.
There's currently 1,300 CNAs, and many of them will be qualified for this program, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them.
You're graduating 30 per semester, 30 per year.
For PNs, for LPNs.
What's your capacity? How many could you? If you had to participate?
We could even double or triple that. Because we have almost unlimited capacity, really. I mean, there are some limits, but they aren't even close to it. They aren't even close.
Question I had was and I don't know if thought ahead so far for this, is the candidates who are enrolled in this program, would there be any type of eligibility criteria that needs to be looked at for that?
They will be co-enrolled in our federal Title I program, even though we can't use our funds. The funds won't be used during this year. Our Title I funds can kick in when they have to go after the 5 foundation classes that this grant pays for. Then we can look at using our federal funds the next year. So, yeah.
Yeah, the reason I guess I say that
We have
is,
admission criteria,
Yeah,
obviously. You have to,
But they would need to be eligible
Yeah.
for the Title I.
I guess where I was going with that is, since we run a nursing home and hiring CNAs and LPNs, I'm always kind of surprised to find out how many of our CNAs are on Medicaid.
Exactly.
So,
So they would actually.
if they're on Medicaid and they're struggling to pay the bills and pay a light bill, and put food on the table, but they'd like to aspire to be an LPN, this is the type of assistance that's needed.
Exactly.
So, let alone meeting a bigger community and reaching need.
Share for me. Alec, have we done this? I'm remembering matches for planning grants and facilities and that sort of thing. Have we done a trade-specific grant match like this?
Yes, sir. About 4 years ago, we had the Career and Technical Education Academy started by Central Virginia Community College. That required a grant that was an application to go to Virginia, and it required a local match. And this PDC put up $134,000 for that Go Virginia Career and Technical Education Academy grant. So Dr. Ferguson, he oversees that program now. I think that's been a pretty successful program for CVCC.
I agree, but that was sort of the expansion of CVCC out into Appomattox, right? It
No.
wasn't specific to a welding.
No, it's a different program. The PDC did not put up money for the welding program. That's something we're getting income off of that. Because the match was posted by Appomattox County and Appomattox County EDA and Dominion Energy. The CTE Academy predates the welding center in Appomattox. I had, in that case, that was a regional program where they stuck classes, and there were 2 gentlemen, Scott Pleasant and Jason Clark, that were hired with those revenues to get that program started.
But what's offered there? What is offered there?
What's offered at CTE Academy?
Yeah.
Jason, can you speak to that?
Sure. So the CT Academy hits the high demand areas. So with the buckets of early childhood, skilled trades, advanced manufacturing, public safety, and healthcare. and IT and cyber. So that anything that falls within those. So just to kind of give you from the first cohort that started there for the dual enrollment high school students, we've been averaging, we started with 82 students. We're hitting about 200 students a year now for high school seniors, getting them out trained and out into the workforce faster for our region. When you look at CTE in general, just overall CTE education, adults and dual enrollment, since that CT Academy started, it's up over 82% overall enrollment in career programs. When you look at our fast forward short-term credentialing programs, since that program started, we're up over 500% since it started to get individuals within days to weeks to months credentialed and out into the workforce. So that program has been highly successful. And one of the components that was included originally, the work-based learning component, we're now expanding upon that. So that will serve the region well also.
Yeah, cool. Wildly successful. I appreciate that, but it's not just LPN, right? That was a match we let to offer capacity.
This is a unique opportunity. It is the number one shortage that we have in nursing. It would, I think, tell a good story that the PDC, it looks at regional needs, and this is the number one need for healthcare in our region.
If I could just add to that quickly. So, when I look at this, when I look at our workforce that we deal with at the college and all of those areas, the obvious things that we look for, right? We look for the increased in their earning potential and of course they're going to spend more of their tax base, right? Then we look at the industry. Industries use LPNs for their safety a lot of times, right? So industries in your regions, not just the long-term healthcare facilities, but also physician offices. And when we look at the silver tsunami of the retirees that are going and needing long-term care in order for the working age individuals to be able to stay in our region, to have adequate healthcare for their parents and aging families, these are the type of things that that was brought up to the point earlier. I think we need to look at a holistic and not just specific one particular industry with this. And that would be just my opinion there based off of what we deal with in workforce in the region.
Just speak a little bit more. You've heard some description of the need. The description of why we're here is important. The Central Virginia Workforce Development Board is housed by the Planning District Commission. The structure here is a little bit different than in other regions. Now, in South Carolina, all the PDCs house all the workforce boards, and so it's a little more common, this type of arrangement. But what we have in Central Virginia is that the Workforce Development Board is housed here similarly to the TPO. So some of y'all were just at a TPO meeting. If the TPO needed matching dollars for a federal grant for a transportation plan, that recommendation would have to come to the Planning District Commission. The TPO does not have reserves in and of itself to make that match. So the Central Virginia Workforce Development Board is in a similar boat. They program the Title I funds that come down to them from the federal government. Those funds have been declining for 3 years now. And the state, in its establishment of the Virginia Works Department, has taken an increasingly larger cut of those Title I funds. So a lot of the programs that you see in our budget they may look like state programs. They are usually federal programs that go to the state. The state takes a cut, attaches some strings, then passes down the state and local entities. In the case of WIOA, the Virginia Works has decided that they want to make a significant fraction of these dollars that they get from the federal government available on a competitive basis rather than pass them through by formula. So there's a couple of things happening here. One is that this is where the state government is going with its workforce development efforts. The second thing is that if this was a different region with a different workforce structure, the board might have its own resources. In Roanoke, I think there's a nonprofit that may be able to fund itself. So our structure is a little bit different, and that's an important piece of why the Workforce Development Board staff is here and not as opposed to their own board or a nonprofit that might be housing them.
So I have a question. So essentially then this is like you compare it to TPO type thing. This is essentially the federal money. And that's why you couldn't use Title I money for a match, because it'd be in kind. And you can't backfill federal grants with federal money. And the grant specifically asks for you to come to your PDC, the local governments? What was the criteria of the grant?
It said local governments for nonprofits.
Gotcha.
A lot of our nonprofits are stretched so thin, they do not have matching funds.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it's us or it's not gonna happen.
No votes letting 50 grand of federal money go by. And to Alex's point, I appreciate that organizational structure synopsis and how we're different. What I'm struggling with, and still I'm gonna vote quite candidly, is it's a conversation around public benefit. When we come in for matching funds for a transportation study, it typically affects some large swath of the community that travels that roadway. This is a very specific, so we now have to make a connection to the larger public benefit of an improved public health system that's enhanced by more LPNs, right? So it's just a couple steps to get there.
Yeah, I make that leap right away, because I'm a nurse for over 40 years. None of you are sitting here without nurses, none of you, frankly. So you don't have nurses, you don't have you.
I think one important thing to consider is if you can prove the concept, then it becomes a lot more attractive to finding other source of funds going forward for the same type of program, right? So if you're wildly successful, the hope would be, I'm assuming the plan would be to continue the program, but through other funding sources. Is that accurate?
You see that, I have the vision for that, yes. I know there's a lot of needs.
More discussion, Alan? All right, I guess we need a motion and a second. to
Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much for having me. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Chase, for hopping on the phone.
Thank you all.
All right, we're moving right along to rural transportation planning work program. I'll turn it back over to Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item we have for consideration is a little bit easier. It's a little bit more of housekeeping and an annual effort. Transportation rural work is a freestanding piece of our annual work program that guides $58,000 of federal funding that's passed through the Commonwealth to our region. And the purpose of it is, as you've heard, transportation planning for our rural areas. So for our friends with Neil, y'all had some issues on 501. This is an area where we'd be able to help you. We're helping the town of Bedford with some issues on stormwater infrastructure associated with the annexation. Probably not say the word, but anyhow, so this is the type of work that's done by that program. So one wrinkle is that we work very closely with Virginia VDOT, the VDOT Lynchburg office to develop this work program. We then submitted it to the state for uploading to the federal government. The state central office asked for some additional phrasing and revisions, and so that has been passed out in hard copy to you. They don't make any substantive changes. They were phrasing and wordsmithing, and so we would ask that you would approve it as revised and hand it out. We do have to adopt a resolution and upload that to state tomorrow.
Any discussion? Need a motion on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second on this?
Move approval.
Second. Again, any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. All right, now number 7 here, fiscal year 2026 work plan and budget. Alex?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the balance of our work. Heard at the TPO meeting, a work program for the urban transportation area. Just heard a vote to adopt a rural transportation work program. We now have the balance of the PDC work plan. This is exclusive of Workforce Development Board, Radio Board, and other administrative pieces like the Region 2000 Services Authority. It's strictly focused on those programmatic items which you have purview, and then also the staff, which because the PDC provides human resources and financial management to all those entities I just listed. So I will, and we have 5:40, so I will work very quickly and ask that y'all will stop me if y'all have any questions or concerns about what we have in work program. Importantly, the work program has been recommended to you by the executive committee. The executive committee is all of the CAOs and the chairman, and it met on April 10th of 2025 to make a recommendation to you. So the work program is largely similar to last year in the sense that we started 10 new initiatives last year, and most of those are carrying over into the current fiscal year. One of the examples is the Lynchburg multimodal plan. You heard Kelly Hitchcock describe that project continues into 2025 with some FY24 funded by the FTA and ERPT. So on the work program, there are really two highlights that I wanted to bring to your attention that are slightly different that we discussed at the executive committee that were important. One is that at the November Planning District Commission meeting, we discussed the need for a regional water quantity plan. And at that time, the Planning District Commission decided not to move forward with that initiative. Importantly, DEQ has set that regional geography to exclude Bedford and include Nelson. There are 26 regions that DEQ has prescribed for our state. There is a requirement to get this water quantity plan done by 2029, and it is almost entirely unfunded. The state allocated $460,000 statewide in the current biennium to get 26 plans done. That's roughly $17,000 a region. The quotes and estimates that we got from our consultants on our on-call bench, $350,000 to $500,000. You might be thinking, well, why such a range? The answer to that is that all of the consultants were concerned about the availability of data to collect and analyze for that plan. So
Alec, that's $350,000 to $500,000 per our region.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, 15 years ago, the Planning District Commission did a similar study. It cost $285,000 at that time. So this obviously costs have gone up in 15 years.
So the state provided less money than we're going to need basically for the region.
Correct. Yeah. The state funded it last time around. This time they have put a few less dollars. So the question has been, well, how do we resolve this in the future of the funding? And so the state's answer, DEQ staff's answer has been to lobby for it. So I notified Senator Peake about that. I don't think the state staff should be telling PDCs and local governments to lobby the General Assembly for money, but nevertheless, Mark didn't respond, so I guess he's not terribly concerned about it. But we will not be lobbying for the money. So the question is, how do we pay for it? Well, one of the strategies that we're pursuing is that we're applying for a grant from the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. We have begun to talk with the managers about what a match for that would be. That match would range from 5 to 10% of the cost, which would be a whole lot more palatable. But we have had a pre-application approved. The full application is due in July. So we will submit the full application and see where we go. We don't obviously can't count on that. It's an application. What we have planned then is a task whereby the staff, the PDC, would apply for a piece of that $17,000. Do some legwork on how much data and documentation is available from member local governments, from large users like Greif, and so as to hone a better quote from our consultants, a more accurate quote as to what it might cost to do a regional water quality plan. I've spoken with my counterpart at the Mount Rogers PDC in Marion. He's doing the exact same thing. Other PDCs are doing variations of this, but this at least keeps the ball rolling. And we have, like we said, 4 years to figure this out. And we can at least get a better sense of what the cost is. So that's where we are in that piece of it. Are there any questions about how we're proposing the work plan to proceed with the water plan? It's a discussion to be continued, obviously, but the momentary step is that we would make that application in September, and we'd expect to get those resources and expend the $8,800 or so to be available by the end of fiscal year 26. The next item that we have that stands out a bit, that's in the work program, the supply to your packets, is that there has been a recent conversation about drug kits related to ambulances. And there was a recent change, I think it was a law that prevented ambulances from restocking their pharmaceutical supplies at the hospital. What that has meant is that local governments that are in the EMS business have had to stand up de facto pharmacies at their EMS headquarters. And each local government has done that. That's in this space already. And this is something that Frank, to his credit, brought to our attention several months ago. He was concerned about the cost of that, another unfunded mandate. And if there wasn't an opportunity for regional collaboration for efficiency and to keep costs down. Well, we had that conversation. It didn't progress too far. But since then, the Lynchburg Fire Chief, who now oversees EMS, has come to staff and asked if this is something we could take another look at. And so I included in the work program that we would convene. It's an important role of what we do is to convene the region's leaders on local needs and to see if there isn't opportunities to make more efficient that system and to look for answers, or at very least to learn from each other about how we're handling this and how we might proceed. And so that's a piece that's in the work program as well. I gave a high level overview of all the federal funding sources and our expectations on those at the March meeting. I didn't see a lot of change that affected us. There are PDCs that are seeing big changes. We are not at this point seeing big changes to federal revenue streams. As you heard Kelly say, those of you who are on the TPO heard Kelly say, we got a $50,000 subaward for our thriving communities. We'll take that as a vote of confidence in our programs and efforts here at CVPDC. So we don't see a big hump there. So overall, the work program is to continue a lot of the work and add those two pieces that I described, the water quantity plan and just the regional convening of EMS providers. Are there any questions or concerns about any of that? Hearing none, I'll move to the budget and present some highlights on the budget.
Alec,
Yes, sir.
I've got to leave because I got a birthday party, but can I say what I talked to you about earlier?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
For those, I don't think it's but a few in the room here that remember Gary Christie. I am the president of VAPDC, and I'm going to present him the President's Award. He's never received that or anything like that. My plan is we have a VAPDC meeting in Lynchburg in August, first part of August. My plan is to have it then. If it doesn't work, we'll have to do it later. And any of you here that remember Gary would like to attend, we probably won't get any farther than his front yard, but we'll stand in his front yard. I just wanted to throw that out to everybody. And I will keep y'all up to date if it's happening and when we plan on it happening. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks for doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
Thanks, Dwayne. Good night.
I got a 7-year-old's birthday party to go to.
Support it. Overall, on the budget, we are looking at a total revenue of $4,861,102. That includes pass-throughs to the program such as workforce development, and the like. And then $4,827 and $497 total expenses. This leaves a delta. It's really important to note we are not the business making money. If you were at the TPO, you heard that we have a surplus in transportation revenues. We're looking for a project to put that money on. It is an unusual year in that every year the staff goes out and solicits transportation planning studies from every local government, and we didn't have any. It's in part because we have so many things going on now. There's a lot of activity, but we have the multimodal plan, we have the Safe Streets for All plan. We will get another project soon, and if we don't, that money will roll over to 2027. So we do not make money off of y'all. So we keep. And then I mentioned $186,000 we had in excess above and beyond our six months of expenses. That's really our cushion. So we don't have a huge cushion, and our recommendation, we adopt the budget on that. I know y'all have to leave, so I want to stop, take any questions y'all might have. I know some of y'all have questions, that's fine. But if y'all have questions or if y'all would like to make a motion, either way is fine.
Not to speak for Vice Mayor Dean, but I think I'm comfortable with the budget that he's presented.
I'm comfortable as well.
Thanks.
I do have to leave to get to another meeting, but I appreciate meeting everybody I met tonight.
So I appreciate you coming. It's your first in-person meeting. Appreciate you making the time.
I'll try to be here in person most of the time.
Awesome. Yes, sir.
I've got a couple questions. I have three. They're short questions. I think really just deserve a short answer, if that can help us save time. But, you know, it's not much money, but accounting services is going up 45%. I mean, what are we doing to cause that?
Sandy, would you like to touch a little bit about the audit costs?
Very briefly, very briefly.
Well, typically split them among the other programs. We allocate because we have the single audit that's required for the federal funding. So normally the 16,000 here represents the total cost for the audit. That will be broken up. VDOT funding will pay for a portion of it.
Okay.
And WEO will pay for a portion of it. I just included it as a total here, just so the board can see what we're actually spending on our audit. I thought that would be more clear than just having a prorated portion of what it actually cost us. Just for clarity.
Okay, so it's overinflated, it'll be allocated out, is what I'm hearing. Does that apply also to accounting services going up 33%?
Comments, sir?
The accounting services, that was just from due to our ADP cost that we process our payroll through a third party. Those fees have continued to go up. The third party that handles our COBRA has continued to go up. There's some other software, our program for our employee assistance, that has continued to go up. So it's been quite a few increases over the last year.
Okay. Third item, briefly, is, you know, I would love to see Campbell County's cost for telephone to drop 40%. What are we doing?
Change providers, got a good deal.
Seriously?
Also, we able to cut the analog fax too, because that new provider provides us a digital fax.
Switch providers a couple of years ago. Okay, we already got that.
And you had asked a question, I believe, about the fixtures and furnitures, and the city had the same question. We have to buy a new server, so we're savings from phone is going to the internet. You know, the funny thing about phone is that it goes to the stupid internet anymore.
Yeah, you know, I have some other questions in the pages. Because there's a lot of narrative about some of these things that, if I could. For Reggie, hazardous mitigation planning, is that where this would bring that topic up, or is that? Like you talked about hazard mitigation plan?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we have a match for the hazard mitigation plan.
Is that part of this conversation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I know that we've got some issues at the town of Alta Vista that we're trying to figure out how to address some consulting cost about Leesville Lake and Smith Mountain and all the planning. Is that something that this would fit into? I mean, could that help offset some of that cost for you guys?
Sure could, but I'm still working with FEMA,
Okay,
hoping that they'll come through. As a matter of fact, they contacted me today.
Okay.
Said that they are still, I think what we have found in Alta Vista as far as this evacuation plan, I don't think anybody on the federal government level has ever thought about it. So I think they're just now looking into it, and I think they do realize there's something to it. They require us to have an evacuation plan, but they didn't give us any, you know, template, any consulting money. And if you go downstream, nobody has gotten it. So I think we may be the test dummy for. So, but yes, it could be. I would like to think that we would not have to come here to get it. I really hope we can do it on our own.
that's all. Thanks.
Since we're not trying to rush after the city. Sorry for the interesting wrinkle there. I just talked briefly about personnel. We have seen a flat personnel budget for the coming fiscal year. And the way we're getting to that is that we are wanting to freeze and defund the executive assistant position, which sat up front. So we continue to lock the door. We can't justify adding that back in part because the landfill will be closing. We'll be losing that administrative revenue. That being said, Patty and Sandy picked up some of those roles. They've done a tremendous job. So I certainly thank them for their work on that. On the revenue side, you see that, we're in pretty good shape. Don't see any red flags. And if y'all do, please say so. Answer any questions that y'all have about that. It has a mitigation plan. Well, I mentioned the highlights of the back of my executive director's report. I wanted to touch briefly on that. Here are all the things that are upcoming that are in the very near future we're working on that are already been budgeted for. Central Virginia Housing Summit is June 25th of this year, next month. We're really excited about the lineup of speakers. We asked that if you don't have time, I think it'd be worth your while to come and hear about a variety of topics that relate to housing and the importance of it to our region. With the PDC members will be comped annual admission. We'll charge $40 for those who aren't on the commission. We have our comprehensive economic development strategy will start very soon. Begin to put out calls for members to serve on the Senate committee. Hazard mitigation plan. Supervisor Watson mentioned that. That is a every 5-year exercise. It's ours to be updated, and it's led to funding in multiple this in the past. So maybe it might again this time. The water relief mini grant program is on the street now. It's a small amount of money, but if there are school districts and local governments that want to do demonstration projects, we receive those now for innovative solutions that improve water quality in the Chesapeake Bay area. It is limited to the Chesapeake Bay watershed. It does not cover out the vista. And then the long range transportation plan that is a CVTPO function. It will fold together the multimodal plan, the Safe Streets for All plan, and also really try to be visionary. What do we expect transportation to look like in our region 25 years from now? One of the conversations I've had around the region is, can a road be slower than 45 miles an hour if that's what it's supposed to be now? I think that a road that's currently posted 45 has to get slower due to growth. And so what roads are those and how can we better accommodate the growth that's on the corridors? Those things we're talking about. So that we have some great projects going on. Our big need is to hire another transportation plan. So if y'all have recommendations, we'd love to have them. Appreciate y'all supporting that effort. That's all I have on that work plan and budget. Happy to answer any more questions you have, or if you read through it and have more questions, give me a call after the meeting.
I think we're down to organizational reports.
Yes, sir. Oh, we do need to have a vote.
Okay, let's vote on that. I need a motion, a second on work plan and budget.
Make a motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passed. Now we'll do our organization report.
Patty, you have any comments on the financial report that you sent out?
Really?
That's a quick looks. Y'all saw it in the packet. And next thing is the executive director's report. I kind of just went through that with the back end of my upcoming events. So I guess I got out of turn. Save y'all time. It's got to be 6 o'clock.
All right. Next meeting.
Next meeting is July 17th. That meeting is our annual voting of officers. Greatly appreciate Chairman Bennett's efforts over the past year. You got one more meeting to go. And that's
Quick year.
Sorry?
Quick year. Yeah. Quick.
They get quicker.
As you get older, they get quicker. Is there any other business, any good news going on in any regions or towns or cities that you'd like to tell us? We have something going on tomorrow in Alta Vista. Gary, you want to tell them what we got going on tomorrow?
We're having a ribbon cutting for our Spark Innovation Center. We've upgraded the outside of the center to have a forklift type of things. Some picnic tables, umbrellas, some decorative things that'll make the Spark Center even more attractive for people who want to come down with their laptop, do some business work. And we're excited about it.
And eat one of the overall winner from the Preacher's Pick for best Philly cheesesteak sandwich in the region, right?
Oh, is he going to be there?
No, I'm just saying you can go down the street and pick up one.
Be sure to.
They're very good.
They are.
Yeah, so anyway, anybody else got anything?
Appomattox Centennial. Go ahead. Appomattox will be celebrating their centennial in 2 parts this year. Our first event is in the month of June the 7th. 5 to 8 p.m. We're gonna have a nice little downtown event, including a dunk tank with the mayor as a target, or at least participant in the tank for a while. We invite all of you to come out and join us.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of music and we'll have free food. So
What's the date again?
June 7th, 5 to 8 p.m.
Saturday.
Look at that.
So it should be a really nice small town experience. Be great to see any of you come out.
We'll do our second part on Railroad Festival weekend. Make it a little better, a lot more participants. Just go tell somebody stuff.
Talking about events, while I got it on my mind, the first Tuesday in August, right, National Night Out, or you coming in Alta Vista, we'll have free food as well. We'll have the, trying to think of the band's name. Embers. Embers will be playing again. So again, we had like huge turnout, but Chief does a real good job putting that on. So free food, free music. That's first Tuesday in August. It's an annual event. So come out. I think, Neil, have y'all had y'all's fishing tournament yet down there?
Yes.
So I can't tell anybody come to that. If you missed it, then that's gone.
Be there next year.
All right.
We do have a new sports bar.
The sports part. Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago, it's Staten Station
Okay. And where's that at in town?
on Main Street, across from the hardware store. Young man opened it up, retrofitted the entire building, and it's a lot of TVs and been well received, standing
Nice.
room only. The great sandwiches, a light menu, could have burgers and chicken wings and stuff like that, but it's been a huge success, and it's going to open the door for other businesses for us.
Yeah, congratulations.
Wonderful news. Yeah, we'll check it out.
So I won't keep you all late with all the wins we're getting in Campbell. But all the talk of food just reminds me that I think I've missed several opportunities to commend the staff here for putting such a wonderful meal together. This is probably the best fed meeting I come to, so I appreciate that hospitality.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to bring before the commission tonight?
I'll just, since everybody else said something, you'll see on the news tonight. All three stations were there this morning. We did a groundbreaking for our animal shelter expansion.
Oh, good deal.
That was a good,
Yeah.
It's been around for like 30 years and, needed some.
Congratulations.
See, so anyway, it'll be 40 kennel addition, about 3,000 square foot, about $1.1 million project. Coleman Adams got the bid, will be complete by the end of this year.
Okay, good.
All three.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
They start from the ground up, nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight, and hope you have a wonderful beginning to your summer here in a few weeks. And we'll see everybody come July, and be safe going home and meeting the parents.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'll just be careful. And out.
Yeah, you know,
Sprung through my shirt.
Hey,
If it's helping me, helping animals.
It's all to me, right? You know, that's finally after all these years of marriage.
Yeah.
Chantel was laid down my road today.
Yeah.
They probably
On Main Street. Yeah.
It's fine.